Hello everybody, so here's my reaction to Godzilla. If you look at the trailer, it starts off by everybody running, you hear the alarms, and everybody looks pretty scared off. And there's like a train flying off, I'm assuming Godzilla threw that. Like overall, if you take a look, there's like a scene where there's a lot of dust. I'm assuming that's Godzilla's head rising. I'm not sure if he's buried or he's destroying some type of building and he's coming out from that dusty environment, but I think that's his head. Let me know if I'm wrong or not. And the next scene is you see there's like some lady looking out to the distance. The reflection is so beautiful because you see Godzilla just walking towards her, walking towards the town, and you see how massive Godzilla is. Of course, this isn't the biggest Godzilla, but it is still big enough to cause destruction. Now, another thing, if you look closely, and I've said this in my previous videos, but there was like a leak that supposedly said that this Godzilla was going to be targeting humans. Unlike other movies where Godzilla casually kills humans, supposedly this one is going to mainly go after humans. And if you look at the trailer, you do see more destruction, but take a look at this scene and you see like actual people flying off because of his destruction. You see like just a whole city crumbling. I gotta say that the visual effects on this movie look incredible, and this might be one of the best Toho CGI realistic films that they've ever done so far. If you take a look at Shin Godzilla and other movies that they've done in the past, from the classics, definitely this has to be one of the best visual effects that they have thus far. And I'm not sure if they're actually using like actual props, or because usually Toho, they like to do real with CGI, but man, this looks so good. Now if you look at this scene where you see Godzilla destroying, I believe it could be a radioactive base or something else, but there's like a huge explosion that reminds me of a nuclear bomb just going off, right? And I can tell that this movie is going to be what we expected, at least from what I was thinking. It was going to be dark. You see a lot of people just standing looking at Godzilla. They look like if they're just impressed or dead on. Oh, the explosion looks so beautiful. Just look at that. Also, the music is similar to Shin Godzilla. If you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments down below. But it's very similar to Shin Godzilla for sure. Now you do see like a destroyer, like a battleship, and underneath, this reminds me of the 2014 scene where you see the destroyer just going by, and underneath you see Godzilla swimming by. That's really awesome, I gotta say. And there's a lot of bodies, there's a lot of deaths going on in this movie. Again, you see that very dark tone, and if you take a look at everybody's face, you see a lot of sorrow within their expression, like a lot of sadness, a lot of pain. You can just tell that they've been through so much. And another cool thing is you see Godzilla rising and just holding onto that battleship destroyer with his hand. I believe that is his hand. Now if you take a closer look, the destroyer seems to explode, but there seems to be like something else going on in the background, like a blue touch to it. I believe if you slow it down enough, to me at least, it appears to be Godzilla's atomic breath. Slow it down enough and you'll see something penetrate the battleship, rising to the sky. It looks like the atomic breath because of the blue. Something else to notice is that this Godzilla seems to love to throw a lot of things. You see in the beginning there was like a train flying by. Here you see another ship just casually being thrown at the city. There seems to be a lot of destruction. Again, the town might not be massive, we might not even see big buildings, but you can overall understand the massive destruction. Now the last shot is Godzilla walking towards a base. I believe this could be a military base. If you take a look, there's a ship destroyer. It could be a destroyer. There seems to be turrets or just like mini bases set up with AA turrets. Those are used to destroy planes back in the day in World War I and II. Now you do see a military truck, so I believe this was like a military base trying to defend itself from Godzilla. Now what's crazy is if you take a look at the ground, that could be bodies. It just seems like bodies of people lying around. The very last shot, it's very interesting because here there's either two options. Number one, this shows Godzilla very damaged. He's brutally damaged. If you take a closer look at his mouth area, there's a visual change within his body and outside of his body. You see what seems to be a lot of blood, just Godzilla in general suffering. You see like his skin is starting to fall apart. There's a lot of skin just peeling off. There's a lot of damage. So something could have made Godzilla battle damage like this. Now the other theory is that this is his second evolution, or his other form if you want to call it like that. Now if you recall, a few months ago there was promotional images going around of Godzilla evolving, or what it appears to be a new form of Godzilla with a golden type of color throughout his body. Think of it as burning Godzilla just in golden form, right? Now take a closer look at his body and you can kind of see pieces of gold or just light coming out from his body. It also appears like he's burning. You see a lot of ashes. Now again, this could be that the oxygen destroyer detonated on him, and you see the background, there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of smoke. That's probably from the explosion. So yeah, either something must have impacted him directly to cause a lot of damage, and that's why you see him in such pain, or number two, he's slowly evolving after taking so much damage into this new golden burning Godzilla, or whatever you guys want to call it. I personally have not seen much of the leaks, so if you do know much more information about this, try keeping it a little bit on the low, since I don't want to be spoiled that much. I want to go in fresh into this movie. For a first trailer, I think this is excellent. It's teasing but not giving away too much, and I really like this. You're getting classic soundtracks for Shin Godzilla, for Godzilla, Evangelion type of Easter eggs thrown, because we do know that the director from this movie also took inspiration from the director based on Shin Godzilla and Evangelion, so it makes sense why there's certain connections and inspiration coming in. And I do like how just overall the background looks dark. Like I've mentioned, a lot of people have been through pain. There's a lot of bodies on the ground. And overall, I think Toho and the direction that they've taken with this movie, of course from the director himself, is very good so far. You do understand the pain behind this, Japan coming out from the war during that time. And you can only imagine how painful it's going to be for people to, see Godzilla at a time where they're most vulnerable, This has me very excited for this movie. I think it's going to be a great Godzilla film. Is it going to top off what we've seen so far from Toho? That includes Shin Godzilla, Godzilla Earth, Godzilla Ultima in this series, probably. This is based on a realistic time period, if you will, between the war that happened at that time, and you can only imagine how the tone is going to be. And I think definitely this movie assures people just watching in general that this is going to be a very dark movie, and you're going to feel the pain of people. You're going to feel immersed in this movie. You're going to feel the fear of what it's like to live in a town where you see this giant radioactive dinosaur lizard godlike monster walking around, not caring about people, hurting people, killing people, just causing destruction overall, right? I think that's the overall tone that I'm getting from this movie, that this is no longer the hero that we saw in the MonsterVerse with their specific Godzilla, because the US version of Godzilla is more like our hero, right? He's the protector, the guardian of Earth, whereas if this Godzilla, if you take a closer look, it's the opposite. And I think a lot of people, or half of the people in general, just wanted to see Godzilla become the villain again. No signs if this is going to be a movie where it's going to evolve multiple monsters. I didn't see really any signs of that, but I know there's been talks of other monsters like Ghidorah, Rodan, and possibly from the leaks what I've heard is that there's going to be another Godzilla. This comes into play where one Godzilla is supposed to represent the good in humankind, and the evil Godzilla is supposed to represent the evil side and the suffering of people. So it would be interesting to see a good versus evil Godzilla go at it, but I'm not sure. Again, I haven't looked into the leaks too much, but I guess that would be interesting, and it would be a new concept because it hasn't really been used too much. We've seen it a few times, but not many times. Another example would be like Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, or Zilla versus the Mechazilla, and other things, you know. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm very excited. I'm very happy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you guys looking forward to this year with this movie? What are your expectations? Did the trailer satisfy your expectations? Were you expecting more, less? How are you feeling overall with this brand new redesign of Godzilla Minus One? Honestly, I don't mind it. I know there was a lot of people complaining about his feet, his head, how his body seems off a little bit of both, you know, how he has like a small head, big body. But just remember, Shin Godzilla was like that, and today Shin Godzilla has become one of the most beloved Godzillas of all time. So give it a chance and just wait until we get more trailers, more reveals. Again, you just can't judge an image right away until we see it in action, and from what I've seen, it looks impressive. A lot of destruction, a lot of dark tones, a lot of suffering. The visuals impressive. One of the best Toho films probably to date, coming off from Godzilla. And I will be covering the reviews for this specific figure coming from SH Monster Arts and more. I will be printing one also when I get my new printer.